We're nearly at the 1 month mark into Collingwood's preseason training, and I thought I'd just do an overview of what I've seen from all the players in preseason so far. Some of them brief, some of them a little bit more in depth. So we'll start with the recruits, and then we'll go from there. Tim Membry, early days for the man still, but the main thing that I want to see and what I've seen so far from Tim Membry is a smile on his face. It's something that has hindered him in his career with his mental health battles, missing a massive game between GWS and St Kilda in one of those finals in 2023 from memory. And what I'm seeing so far is a smile on his face. That's all I can ask for. And then when the performances need to start coming along, we can talk about that, talk about Tim Membry in that light. But for now, I just want to see him integrated or immersed into training and just enjoying himself. That's the main thing. Dan Houston, he just looks like a Rolls Royce out there. And I just don't know if he's going to be a halfback flanker full time. I think there's more potential there just from what I'm seeing at training with his trusted right foot. There's just more to the story there. So while it's early days, I don't want to give it too much gas. Let's just hold our horses, but that's something I'm noticing early. And then Harry Perryman, he is the second coming of Jonathan Brown's husky voice. If you listen to Harry Perryman in some of his interviews, he's got a real husky voice and a real great desire to exude and bestow leadership upon the younger players. Coming in from day one, he's already helping out the youngsters, and hopefully he can take his own game to the next level with that confidence, looking after players. And we knew coming in from GWS that he was going to bring this wealth of experience and leadership, which is something that Fly loves, and his versatility to play in multiple different positions. All right, so that's Houston, that's Perryman, that's Membry. I personally haven't seen Westy and Hayes and Cochrane just yet, but as I mentioned in the vlog yesterday, I just want to see how they are able to adapt to more complex drills. What's their IQ like? What are their running patterns like? How do they see movement patterns on the field? If you have that level of awareness, composure on the field, it sets you apart from a lot of players. So that's something I'm going to keep on an eye on furthermore throughout the preseason. Patrick Lipinski is one player we're going to start with who played for Collingwood last year. Coming back from America with Q, he's a great runner, we know that. The question is, what will it take for Lipinski to take the next step? And I'm looking for that at training. It's hard to tell right now, so I'll leave that for the moment. Jordan De Goey returned this week, did some running on Monday, and then yesterday at training, wasn't sighted until maybe 3/4 of the way through training, and was just on the bike doing some off-legs conditioning. He would have done some gym work before coming out. So I don't know when he's going to be reintroduced into main training. That will be a close watch. But I suppose with him coming back from seeing overseas specialists, I think they're just taking a real meticulous approach until things need to be ramped up. Isaac Quaynor has been the standout in November. I would say number one. So let's stamp him as the number one man in November early days. He looks fit, he looks fast, he looks confident with the ball. And it reminds me of when I was at preseason last year, where Finlay Macrae was flying in the preseason, and anything he did well, the players loved it. And I feel that with Q. You see when Q does something well, players are loving it. And it's sort of just this unspoken energy that you can feel. There's what would you call it? It's the rise of a certain player. You can feel them percolating, and you're on that ride, and you're patting them on the back as much as possible because you really want to see that come to fruition in games. And that's what I'm feeling with Q. I know Finlay and Q aren't good comparisons because Finlay was someone trying to stamp their authority at AFL level, whereas Q's already done that. But I think this is a different type of encouragement. This is, hey Q, you were this guy in 23, you lowered your colours in 24, but 25, we want you to be even better than 23. the way you're playing right now. His running capacity is elite. I don't know if he's always had that running capacity. He did play some wing this year, so he must have had that. But he is leading the packs with the running training at the moment, particularly the repeat efforts with the shuttle running and everything. And he finishes off the sessions really well also, which is a testament to his endurance. Braden Maynard, haven't noticed the whole deal there. Obviously, there's talks around his contract status, and that's going to gain some momentum over the next 12 months. So we'll earmark that. Billy Elliott, besides the fact that he has shaved his head, I haven't got anything there. Tom Mitchell's an interesting one. I've mentioned he's quite cerebral in the past, and it's funny. His recollection, like, he is a footy nerd. For example, right, at training, Brody Mychek's taking a snap from the boundary, he just goes to Brody, grand final checkers, huh? And then maybe 5 minutes later, Pendles has a shot from the boundary off on his left foot, and Titch is like, "Oh, didn't you nearly kick one like that against Carlton?" And Pendles like, "Yeah, late in the season." It's like Mitchell knows anything and everything when it comes to footy, whether it's on the field when it comes to his footy nous or just footy moments. Like he is the all-encompassing footy geek. So that's what I've taken from Tom Mitchell. Josh Dacos, as mentioned in my vlog yesterday, that half-back flank experiment is not over. And that's why I think Houston may or may not play full-time back, and why I also don't think Perryman will play full-time in the back line, because Josh Dacos is so good at what he is doing on the half-back line right now. There were just some snippets from training that I've seen that just says to me, nah, he's like, can you take him away from there if he's playing so well on the half-back line right now? That's the main dilemma. It's a good problem to have, right? Shooter, Lockie Schultz, looks good, trains hard, looks good. I want to see his overhead marking go to another level. He is hell-bent on always trying to take his marks overhead. A lot of small forwards don't do that. Jamie Elliott does that really well. So I think if we can see Lockie Schultz taking more overhead marks, leading with his hands out, I think we're going to see more goals from him. He's just a little bit shorter than Jamie Elliott, which probably hinders his ability to take his marks out in front of him. Scott Pendlebury, besides the fact that he just looks fluent on the field, it's probably all I've got for you. McStay looks good, had a little head knock yesterday, so I just want him to get through this preseason unscathed and just come in with a clean bill of health going into 2025. Dimatia hasn't taken me by storm just yet. He wants to play in the wing, or at least he's put it out there into the public in a SEN interview. Hey, I want to play. I'm open to the wing position. Well, his fitness capacity probably doesn't suggest that just yet. Just watching him at training and his 2 kilometer time trial, I just don't know if he's got the engine for that just yet, especially when we've talked about players like Isaac Quaynor, Lipinski, who are just running machines. I think Dimatia might be that guy who, just would have to play really well to be put on a wing. And let's see if he even makes a defense at some point. We'll figure that out. DC, Book, Darcy Cameron, not too much to report on there just yet. Ed Allen, he is a fucking giant, I have to say. He is tall and just walks around with a level of confidence, knowing what he's been able to do last year, late in the season. I think he's one of those players, the heir apparent, that will look to solidify their position in the squad next year. We need that. We really do need a couple of these youngsters to really step up. Our big problem last season, besides Nick Dacos, our youngsters just really didn't show up. They were really failed. Philae McRae, Reef McInnes, Nathan Kruger, if you want to put him in that bracket. Ash Johnson isn't young, but young in terms of AFL. So we need someone like Ed Allen. One of the draftees is a bit of a stretch, but definitely Ed Allen, TJ, Dimatia. Up next, we got Billy Frampton. And watching him closely, his biggest issue is just his decision-making by foot. He's not a bad kick. He's not a bad handballer. It's just his decision making is just a bit off, and we've seen that in the season. Even when he's defending, his decision making is poor at times. So I don't know if you can fix that, but he tries hard, and that's all we can ask for. But at the end of the day, you need to have some sort of ability and consistency at AFL level. He's fortunate because we don't have genuine key size players like him outside of Darcy Moore, unless you bring back one of the forwards into defense, but that's unlikely. Finlay McRae, I'm not seeing much yet. This is November, right? So we don't have much of a sample size, given a lot of it is running, but he hasn't taken my eye at training too much. I don't know if his energy is a little bit lower than what it has been. Maybe he just wants to operate be a little bit quieter this year, and he's probably had some time to reflect in the off season. All right, I'm just going to go into preseason. I'm going to lay low. I'm just going to do my thing. They don't want me in the team. I'm not playing well. I'm going to show them that I belong here, because he's got one more year left to do that. TJ is an athletic monster. I don't want to make these big calls. It's November, but I have TJ ahead of Di Mattia right now when it comes to who will play the next AFL game. It wouldn't be a debut because TJ debuted against North Melbourne, but he looks good. Ilaru Smith is another, probably the next behind Q to who has really impressed me so far. Athletic ability, great contested mark, will crash packs, really mobile. The problem is how will he go in ruck contest against these mature AFL players? He's probably got a couple years in the VFL and sporadically might appear for Collingwood AFL level, unless he plays a tall forward role and pinch hits in the ruck in the forward line. Maybe that's what I foresee happening. Doesn't have the greatest kicking action, but his kick gets from point A to point B where you need it to be. Oscar Steen is a watch this space. Not a lot on him just yet. Doing a lot of forward craft, stoppage work as a ruckman. Did some work against DC in some match simulation drills yesterday. DC obviously didn't dominate him, but did really well against Steen. So we'll see. We'll revisit Oscar Steen in January. Still side bottom. He's the larrikin at the club. You just hear some of the things he says to some of the lads. You go, yeah, this guy's the clown. And you can see why he's lasted at AFL level for nearly 20 years. It's because he just enjoys himself. He doesn't take things too serious. He's just a bit of a clown. So that's Steely in a nutshell. Bobby Hill looks good. He's so fast. It's crazy. Looks fit. And we just want to see Bobby Hill not overuse the shake and bake, the selling candy. Just hit your target. Don't be too selfless as well. There's times where he could kick a shot on goal, but he passes it sideways to a player who you probably wouldn't trust as much as you would with Bobby Hill with the ball. Jacob Ryan's been good, really good fitness capacity. Won the 2 kilometre time trial 6:33, which for reference, Joel Cochran, our draftee, has a 6:05 and Will Hayes sits in a 6:15. So we've brought in some serious runners who would blow away players like Jacob Ryan in the 2 kilometre time trial. But I'm not sure if it's the more time you spend in the AFL, maybe you lose a little bit of that time in a 2 kilometre time trial because you spend more time elsewhere honing your skills during the off season. Maybe that's what it is. But Jacob Ryan is just one of those players. Once again, put him in the same category as TJ, Di Mattia, Ed Allen. One of these players needs to come to the show and give us something. I would probably right now got TJ, Jacob Ryan over Di Mattia, both of them. Jack Crisp just trotting along, just getting through the sessions, which is all we need. And then Reef McInnes, that will probably round out our top 3 for the November training. We've got Isaac Quaynor, Ilaru Smith, and Reef McInnes as our most impressive trainers in the first month of training. Reef McInnes has moved into the back line. Whether he plays a second key tall or third key tall is still to be seen. We'll find out more when we start to see those intra-club matches. But man, he just looks reinvigorated, revitalized, and ready to go, and does look a little bit more beefier. And I say that because he's still young, and as you get older, you're going to put on a bit more muscle, and you're going to grow into your body, which is what we need from Reef McInnes, because he's a bit slim. But looks really good, and he's fast. Like, we have to remember, he did really well in that draft combine, in that 20-meter sprint, was really fast, and is able to run with the ball and break lines with his pace. His ball use is still suspect for someone if we want to trust them with the ball in an AFL game. But I'm sure as he gets more comfortable with the ball, as the boys get behind him more, we will see Reef McInnes gain more confidence with the ball and hopefully can improve his kicking. We'll see. Who else do we have? Darcy Moore. Just at the moment, he's actually in the Northern Territory with the first to second years doing a community camp there. So just leading from the front, and I'm really hoping he can bounce back from the treacherous season he had last year. I really bounced back actually late in the year. And I was saying to someone at training that it's just a testament that Darcy Moore managed to play through that form woe, in the sense that he could have easily just said to Fly, "Hey mate, like, I'm cooked. Media's got my ass. I need a break. I need a week off. I'm having issues. I can't front up right now." He showed up every game, good or bad. He was there. So for that, I tip my hat off to you. Bo McCreary looks fast. He's done some midfield work. Yesterday did some midfield stoppage work. Whether we see him at centre bounces, I'm not too sure, but we know he rolls into stoppages through the forward when the game is in open play. So we'll see a bit more of that from Bo. And another player, it's like, well, can you improve your game by 15%? Your pressure, your tackling is unbelievable. One of the best in the league. But can you give us 10 to 15% extra so we don't have to rely on someone like Nick Dacos as much, and Jordan De Goey and Darcy Moore? Like, give us more balance across the field. Will Hoskin Elliott, just Mr. Fix-It, trotting along. That's it. When I say trotting along, I haven't got much else to say. Lockie Sullivan looks like he's leaned out a bit. Maybe it's because it is his true first AFL pre-season, and with that, what will we get? What we get from someone like Lockie Sullivan, who does get a full preseason at AFL level under their belt, comes through in the mid-season draft. Was it mid-season draft? No, preseason supplementary period. So he had a relatively full season preseason with the AFL last year, but this is proper, fully integrated from off-season to pre-preseason into preseason. So we'll find out a lot more about Lockie Sullivan, whether he can stand up at AFL level. Nick Dacos just looks like he's also growing into his body, and I just love watching him grow up and lead through the front and be who he is at training. He's that guy who just can't keep his hands off the ball. When the drills are done, he's the one who kicks the ball after the whistle's blown, having a shot on goal. He's that guy. He's got that young kid energy who just wants every opportunity with the ball. Like, he has a ball with him at all times. So that's something I've noticed at training. Besides his playing ability, this is why he is what he is on the field. Is just he's synonymous with that Sharon footy. Harvey Harrison, poor bloke. Like, I've got to say, the amount of repetitive work he has to do on the sidelines while his boys are out there having fun, running like dogs. I call that fun, but just, the same ACL rehabilitation drills over and over again over the last few weeks, but that's all part of it. Oleg Markov, great leadership on field, great voice, and you need those players. Not every player is going to have a loud voice and is not going to assert themselves on the field. They're different strokes for different folks, and there's many roads that lead to Rome, which is why you need a good balance of these players. You need the quiet players. You need the players who will stand up and lead from the front. You need the players to be directing. Oleg Markov is a great director. You can hear his voice. He's got a beard. He's got his tattoos. He looks like a man on a mission looking to vindicate himself in the next year. So he's taken that delisting and put back onto the rookie list really well. I'm hoping for his sake he can find some 2023 form. So we'll see how that goes. Jeremy Howe has done some work in the forward line, but that is just because there are times where he will be needed forward. Therefore, he will do some training with the forward line. Ash Johnson is an interesting one. I'm seeing good things, but I'm seeing these bad habits that are still there. And I understand there's a lot of running that he's doing. He's a key forward. I understand that, but there's just times at training where I just say, Ash, he's there. Just run. Like, at least try. Even if you know you're not going to get him, put the gas on. Try and chase him down. Show us that you want to get him, even though you probably can't. That's all I want to see. And I'm not sure if this is something he's always done, particularly in training, but he does try to do a lot with the ball. I'm not sure if he's just trying to prove himself that he's worthy of an AFL spot this year or next season. He's just doing one too many things. Give the easy hand pass when it's there. Go for the easy kick. He's tripping over his feet sometimes. So, look, I am one of the biggest advocates for Ash Johnson, as you guys. I want him to do well, but I'm being real. I'm being rational, objective, and I'm not there yet with Ash Johnson. I think he's still going to be a VFL player at this point in November. Brody Myercheck, just, trotting along. How about that? Charlie Dean, he's been good. He has been good. Directly competing with Reef McInnes now and Billy Frampton. So there's an opportunity there. And we'll keep a closer look on him throughout the preseason. I said there was a top 3. I'm gonna extend it out to a top 4 with Ned Long in there as well. He's the second coming of the G Train, Fraser Garrick, right? He just runs through players and he's a beast, absolute beast. He's someone who I wouldn't be surprised if he has a breakout season next year. He's just looks like this contested ball that we need to take over from someone like Tom Mitchell in the next 12 to 24 months. So if we can see some consistency from Ned Long, great tackler, great within the stoppage. It's just, okay, so now you're at Collingwood, you're at Hawthorn for a little bit. Can you learn or can you pick up the ability to display levels of composure by foot moving forward? If you can improve that by 20%, you're probably going to be you're going to be on an AFL list for the rest of your life. If you can't develop an outside game with your use by foot, you're going to be this fringe player or maybe it's just a VFL player. So I'm super optimistic and bullish about where Ned Long can take his game over the next 12 months. Last 2, we have Will Parker, who, to be honest, I haven't noticed a whole great deal of, maybe because he doesn't catch my eye as a smaller player, doesn't have glowing hair, or he doesn't have big muscles or tattoos. It's sort of one of those situations. But played some good footy for Collingwood at AFL level, and the fact that he came from cricket as a Category B rookie and was able to play AFL games before any of our 2023 draftees shows that he is ahead of them right now. So really, I'm intrigued. What his AFL career looks like if he's already managed to string together AFL games before other players who have been playing footy for their entire life, really. Lastly, Mason Cox. He is intimidating in training, at AFL level in games. If he doesn't get the ball where he wants it, he's an angry man. And if he makes a mistake, he wants to make amends. For example, there was a drill yesterday where they were doing some goal kicking. He missed 5 snaps in a row, just short of where it needed to be. Nothing drastic. But he wasn't happy with that. And the whistle went, and he ended up taking 2 more shots after the whistle to get those goals back. So these are the qualities that make you a professional athlete in any domain. So, I think that's pretty much it. That is my November training recap for the lads. If you guys have any questions, you want to know anything more about the preseason, let me know. By the way, I also have a YouTube membership that is for $5 a month, which will grant you early access and helps me pay overheads for the channel to keep this running. So if you want to support that, the link is in the description. Go Pies.